Our next speaker is talking about Cryogenics' role in the quantum ecosystem. I have Dr. Jonas, and I'm going to do a horrible name of pronouncing his last name, Jonas Geust? Geust. He's going to pronounce it better for you. Jonas is a Finnish technology executive with extensive executive experience in the industry. He currently serves as the Chief Operating Officer and Deputy CEO for his company, Bluefors. He holds a degree in engineering and a degree in business administration, which is perfect for our industry advancement segment. And he is also a member of the board of directors for several technology companies in Finland. So I'm going to hand this over to Jonas. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Do you have any slides?
Yeah, I do.
You do? Okay,
I do.
Let me give you the clicker then. There you go.
Yeah, thanks. And just to get it correct, still looking for my doctorate. So I haven't got it yet, but maybe in the making. So that's okay. Just not to get any misunderstandings there. Hey, warm welcome to discuss about cryogenics and the role of that, which is quite often the sort of visible part whenever you read sort of more general publications on quantum computers. So that's something we're happy about, and that's what I'm going to elaborate here. Quick background on Bluefors. Bluefors was founded 15 years ago. We are a spin-off from the Aalto University in Helsinki, Finland. Founded by actually two Dutch people rather than Finnish. That also reflects very much the type of company we are today. We have more than 50 nationalities working in the company. We are 600 people, of which about 400 are located in Finland, and we consider very much US being our second home, where we now today have 200 people working in the state of New York. I'll come back to that. Our revenue last year was on a ballpark of 160 million euros and sort of not going ahead of time, but typically we have grown with the speed of about 20% per year. So that's probably ending up close to 200 million for this year. During our 15 years, we have installed 1,000 systems. That 1,000 system was actually delivered a year ago to Stanford University. So then when you add up, we have significantly more by today, but that's sort of a public milestone that we have. And we put quite a lot of pride in the fact that each one of those systems we ever have delivered are still operational. And must say that sort of yesterday I had the pleasure to have one of a professor from Australia coming up to me after a panel discussion we had, and he came and said that he has two systems working in his lab, and one of them is actually one of the first ones we have ever delivered, and he was very happy about it and said that it's a workhorse that they have in their lab. They do a cool down cycle pretty much every week, and that's what they've been doing for the last 14 years. So that's always great to hear when you have customers like that. We operate pretty much worldwide. As I mentioned, we have originating out of Finland, where we have the headquarters and where we also have the factory for our dilution refrigerators. Since this year, we now also have a factory in Syracuse, upstate New York, and then we have a sales and service center also in New York City. And in Asia, we now also have a sales and service center located in Tokyo, and through this we are then able to basically support all the main geographical regions. Rest of Asia we are today handling through sales representatives, but then we are looking at sort of further how to expand that as the business is growing. Central Europe, we also have both a sales and service team in Germany, but in addition to that, we have this year also opened a laboratory in Holland, in Delft, which I'll come a little bit more back to later in the presentation. So our business really, and this just to make it clear, because quite a few people have during these last few days come to us and tried to buy a quantum computer. And no, we are not selling a quantum computer, even though we have the chandelier standing up there at our stand. So what we do is really the cryogenics. So we take the operating temperature down from room temperature and down all the way to a ballpark of 10 millikelvin. The core of our business is really the dilution refrigerators. You see it sort of opened up there in the middle. And then sort of our mission, how we are operating, is really sort of we have two main targets for all of our work. And it's to support scientists on one hand, and on the other hand, support industries to go further and solve problems that really are the big problems in the world. For us as an industrial company, sometimes why I'm highlighting this is that these two categories, scientists and industries, they actually have quite different demands. And sometimes it puts us sort of under quite a lot of pressure to be able to meet all of these, because an individual professor at the university or research institute trying to do a very specific experiment might be about quantum computer or might be about something completely different, has quite different requirements than an industrial company who wants to buy 20 identical systems in a very short period of time. So this is sort of what we are then optimizing all of our operations and R&D to, that we actually can support these two customer segments. I mentioned Cryomec and US. So earlier this year we acquired Cryomec in US as sort of located in Syracuse. Our background here is that since this acquisition, Cryomec is the world leading manufacturer of pulse tubes. Pulse tubes helps you to take the temperature down from room temperature to a ballpark of 3 to 4 Kelvin. And then in sort of with our previously legacy in-house technology, we then take the temperature down to 10 millikelvin from that 3 to 4 Kelvin. Our rationale here was really that to drive the products and productization and innovation further to meet the constantly evolving demands from the industry, we now have sort of full control in-house of the complete technology stack, all the way from room temperature and down to 10 millikelvin, so that we're actually able to sort of innovate throughout the whole temperature grades, and that way sort of build better and faster solution for the industry. This is sort of quite often, I mentioned already that it's always these chandeliers you see when you have publications, and I must say that as a reasonably small company, it's a joy to see your own product on the front page of Time magazine. That's sort of something that doesn't always happen in industrial life. But really then looking at sort of what we are going through at the moment is focusing on the scalability and sort of build a scalable industrial and trustworthy supply chain for the cryogenics that traditionally always has been considered to be sort of a bottleneck for quite a lot of things. We go 10 years back and cryogenics was considered to be sort of an extremely complex thing that sort of you had to have really highly educated people to operate. That's what we have wanted to simplify, so that you actually sort of can have easy operations, you have trustworthy products that deliver sort of on a 24/7, 365 days a year, the cryogenics performance that you need. And that's where we work today, and that's sort of ambition sort of for the future, that we continue to do that. So a few words then on our products and the offering that we are having. And if we start here on the top of the picture with the generic systems, this is sort of where the company really was founded. We have sort of a scale of sort of all the way from smaller single unit operations, sort of measurement systems, and then going all the way up to the large scale industrial cryogenic solutions that I'll talk a little bit more about. We are also now with the Cryomec portfolio, we are basically covering, and this is maybe a misconception that sometimes comes when we talk about cryogenics in this industry. Cryogenics is not only about the sort of sub 1 Kelvin temperatures, but we actually have an offering going from 10 millikelvin and all the way up to 80 kelvins. And different technologies also in the quantum computing needs different temperature ranges. And we are sort of happy to support all of these, because there's sometimes a debate that are these sort of big chandeliers, are they even needed? And no, they are not needed for all purposes. And we have solutions also for higher temperature grades than sub 1 Kelvin. And we do quite a lot of work there. Another area up to the left on the picture is the cryogenic measurement infrastructure. Obviously, the more stuff that is put into the fridges at the bottom of them, the more wiring and signaling is needed to get the control signals in and get the results out of there. We do quite a lot of work with our high density wiring to make sure that is supported. Up on the right-hand side, we have what is called high throughput characterization, or the so-called wafer prober. So we are having a range of cryogenic wafer probers, again supporting the industrialization of the whole industry. And then last but not least, down on the right-hand side, we have the Bluefors laboratory that I mentioned that we have opened earlier this year. And here the logic is really to have a little bit simplified cooling as a service. So rather than having to buy a fridge on your own, you can actually come and rent cooling time. We have a ready-made setup that you sort of come in. We have all the infrastructure in place and you rent cooling time for 2 weeks. The first one was opened early this year in Delft in Holland. It's been an immense success. We have sort of a rental rate of somewhere between 70 to 80% for this year, which has overwhelmed us. So now we are currently sort of considering that where and how should we sort of open up the next laboratory. And then, of course, at the bottom, sort of total customer care, we do a lot of maintenance work, maintenance contracts with our customers, because as good as the fridges are, they also need sort of a little bit of care and hand-holding to make sure that they sort of operate for the long lifetimes that we are expecting for them. Now we go in the wrong direction. So then we have KIDE, and this is sort of where we now start to look into the future. KIDE is a product that we announced earlier this year. We have delivered the first KIDEs already to our first customers, and we have sort of pretty good order book of doing that further. This is a product we have positioned really to be ready for 1,000 qubits and beyond. We have massive cooling power. We give easy access to the payload. One person can operate this thing. And then we are sort of having separated cooling for user payload and for the fridge operation. So this way we give a lot of flexibility that what type of cooling do you need, cooling power do you need for your payload. You can put it at different levels. And it's been a big success, and I want to stress here again that now this is something we have positioned to be able to carry us up to 1,000 qubits. Now we are currently on our own and with our partners, we are then looking at, so how do we scale this up further? Because we all, even though 1,000 qubits today might sound a bit far out, but we also know that 1,000 qubits is in no sense the end goal. So we are continuously committed to sort of solve the cryogenics problems of this industry. Eventually, obviously, we are working quite a lot with our customers on really seeing then that how do we get the cryogenics part into the HPCs one day when we are going to have quantum computers being part of them. Let them be either sort of stationary solutions, bringing them into the HPCs per se, or let it be through then cloud access, which is actually the solution the research agency VTT in Finland is using, that they have sort of separately located their supercomputer, and then they have in a separate location, they have the quantum computer, and they do cloud access over that. So with that, I'd like to thank you for your attention, and sort of I think we have a minute or two for a question. We also, as you probably have noted, we have a stand right when you come up the sort of stairs, so please don't hesitate to have any sort of further technical detailed questions there with our team that is present. But thank you.